Hey, RetconRaider here. Today's video is dedicated to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, with special thanks to Revenant, Anerdinwarpaint, Antonio Hernandez, Matthew Holmquist, Nathan Welch Jr., and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, let's get started. And welcome back to Wasteland 3, as we return to this admittedly bleak situation. Now, I've had some time to think about it, and I do have a few things I'd like to say about this scenario, but that'll have to wait a moment because I've also translated that Morse code message, and it would appear that someone knows we are here. So let's head out back towards the entrance and see if anyone's waiting for us. Given where we are and what we're doing, I figure there's two main groups that could have potentially followed us out here, so we might as well go find out. I'd also like to note that those are concealed death traps, not alarms, because we are going to come back to that in a moment.
Sounds like someone's approaching. We'd best prepare.
Ah, there we go. The women face you, cold-eyed and grim-faced. They're dressed in their Sunday worst, attire they won't mind getting dirty.
He dead?
Betsy tightens her grip on her weapon. Hold up. Did you follow us?
Yeah. We wanted to see the son of a bitch who took our kin.
And make sure he never breaks anyone else's heart again. So, is he dead or not?
Yeah, he's dead.
Good. That's real good. Now, if you'll excuse us, it's been a long road to see those scales balanced. Time for us to head home.
She hands you a package as payment. Before you go, tell us something. Why'd you come all the way out here?
We wanted to see justice served.
You knew all along, didn't you? That your kinfolk were dead. She says nothing, just stares at you, hard and cold.
So long, Rangers.
One stayed behind.
Thank you, Rangers. We're all in your debt.
Weird. I'm not sure if she was supposed to stay behind like that, but she does have unique dialogue, so I don't know. Anyway, okay, so let's have a quick chat about this quest. Because, I had some time to think about it after I finished recording and editing the previous episode. And one of the things that really jumps out at me is, what was Windtangles trying to accomplish? I mean, I will make one thing very clear. I actually don't feel bad about killing him. I'm not necessarily happy with how it all played out, but he is a former member of the Godfishers. He willingly handed people over knowing that they were going to be dismembered and executed in pretty horrific fashion, and he was not terribly repentant about it. In fact, that's one of the things that really kind of vexes me here, is that he paid lip service to being sorry about what he had done, how he had abandoned the Godfishers, turned his back on his old life, and now he was trying to live as a better man, which, you know, fine. Fair enough. But then that begs the question of why stay here unless you are expecting people to come investigating and you want to confront them. I mean, he could have gone anywhere else, even Nikki's farm that he mentioned during his story, and not been here when people like us or Betsy and the vengeful women showed up looking for justice. And that's made even stranger by the fact that despite claiming that he's trying to be a better man and that he's turned his life around, he clearly intended to kill whoever came after him here at this place where he did these things. There were death traps on the front door. Nikki threatened to kill us several times just for wanting to arrest Wind. And it was him who basically forced our hand to turn it into a gunfight. He essentially gave us an ultimatum to either let him go scot-free or to just shoot him down right there, which of course is what I ended up doing. And even if I hadn't, Betsy and the others would have gone in there right after we did. And then one or both sides would have ended up dead anyway, and I just don't see how that would have been any better. In many ways, I think it would have been worse. But I have to say, even ignoring all of that, and that does bother me, is the simple fact that none of this was even necessary. The sham of a work camp, I mean. For better or worse, the Patriarch has a very harsh ruling style, and he has never shied away from publicly executing people. He has pillories in the middle of his town where people are strung up to be maimed or executed for, in some cases, fairly minor crimes. I just don't really get why he needed to set up a fake work camp for this arrangement, when he could have just told people, these are criminals, I'm going to send them off to be executed now. The end. Grumble if you want, I don't care. I mean, harsh, sure, but there'd be no need for this trail of deception that we followed. You know, a blatant series of clues revealing the shocking truth that the Patriarch had handed off a bunch of convicts to a murderous death cult. I don't know. I feel like there's just a lot of ways they could have made the scenario better. What if it had been an actual work camp to harvest paint and clay, as the loading screen had implied, and then faced with an inability to, what is this? Oh, okay, the audio's not playing, so I'm just going to talk through this. What if it had been an actual work camp where medium offenders were sent to serve their sentences with harsh labor, as opposed to the murder pillories out in front of the courthouse back in Colorado Springs? Except that, eventually faced with an inability to defeat the Godfishers through military might, then the Patriarch had been like, well, I've got all these laborers over here, why don't I just hand them over instead? That would make it a much grayer area, and then you could have someone like Wind Tangles be like, well, I was the warden, and I didn't want to do it, but what are you going to do? I had no choice, I feel bad about it. That alone, I feel, would have made a much more nuanced moral dilemma, and then you could have stacked more on that. He could have gone and shacked up with Nikki and had kids, or to build a new community, or to help other people, because then it would be a lot more questionable if you were to kill him or hand him over to Betsy, because you wouldn't just be punishing him for his maybe crime, you would also be hurting all these other people, as opposed to, in this case, Nikki, the murderous farmhand who abandoned her farm to live in a murder cave, and 2 doggos. I really should have scripted this so that I wasn't ranting quite so much, but anyway, long story short, I didn't like the scenario. I feel the motivations and the setup are weird, and I feel like they could have done it better. I'm actually not even all that mad at the Patriarch, because what he did, although questionable, at least makes sense. The, making a deal with the Godfishers part, I mean. Not the wacky cover-up with the fake work camp and, trail of witnesses who could all blow it wide open. If anything, I feel like the Patriarch should have told us to come out here and kill Wend, because that guy was a huge loose end.
HQ to Team November. I received an urgent message from a distraught local currently being pursued by bandits. Are you ready to receive?
Oh, affirmative, HQ. Details, please.
The victim is Kim Hai and her sister. They're being pursued by bandits, though details were scarce on enemy ordnance. Kim has indicated that time is a critical factor.
What kind of bandits?
Unknown, Team November. Sorry to be low on details, but the victim and her sister were in a panic. They're on the move, sending you coordinates. Time is of the essence, Team November. Over and out.
Huh. Well, I guess that's as good a reason as any to stop ranting. We could use some simple heroics every once in a while. Looks like a box full of garbage. We'll take it. Sorry, I'm so amped up I didn't even read that description. Alright, so now that I have paused for breath, let's go ahead and burn off a few more points real quick. Sounds like we're heading into a fight, so let's make sure we're ready for it. You know what? Let's go ahead and max out Persuasion while we're at it. Though I do feel like there are not nearly enough dialogue skill checks in this game. The paint mines would have been a great place for it. Not that I'm trying to beat a dead waste horse. That's just, yeah. One more point of small arms for Lucia. Let's go ahead and max nerd stuff on Pizzepi. And... I think we'll just save these last few points. Ghost Town. The skeletal remains of an abandoned exurb.
Come out, little bunnies! There ain't nowhere for you to hide!
Stay back! We're prepared to defend ourselves. That's your warning shot.
Stupid bitch! Take cover and be careful. The boss wants these two alive.
Mercenaries, not bandits. But they are marked as hostile, so I'm not seeing much choice here. Not seeing any heavy artillery, so the flamethrowers are our biggest threat. Let's go ahead and... oh, shoot. Sorry, had to take that quick shot. Bonkers was about to be spotted. That said, I'm not too worried here. We've got the Kodiak behind us, and I have been looking for an excuse to use that new cluster bomb. Oh, but I moved too far. Right. It takes 6 action points to fire that thing. Huh. And the Magneto cannon is a cone template. I was not expecting that. Alright, I guess we'll just, shuffle Lucia out of the way. We'll tuck her behind cover somewhere. Doesn't really matter where. We just need her to be not here.
Executing order.
Not bad. It will make it a bit more difficult to deploy the Kodiak effectively, but I could definitely see a weapon like that one coming in handy. Especially in conjunction with the powered-up cluster bomb. Let's get a distraction on the field. Welcome to the party, pal. Just as well. That would have left a big patch of flaming oil on the field. And you can be sure the zoo crew would have made a beeline for it. The uneven terrain really messes with templates. Wow. Yeah, you guys probably should have kept your distance. Goodness, they just keep on going, don't they? He said as they stopped going. Alright, well, I think it's pretty safe to say that we've got these guys outclassed, which makes sense. We are getting out towards Denver, which I believe is about level 10 to 15. Let's give that cluster bomb another shot. Come on, we just saw a spot where it was hitting all three of them. Fine, forget it. Not too shabby. We didn't reduce them to a fine red mist, but it was definitely more effective than it was last time we tried it. Let's see if we can wrap this up. Really? So inconsiderate, making me waste an entire bullet just for one hit point. Nice. I think that was bonkers. Sorry, Fox. Huh. That was honestly not a bad move on his part. I mean, it's too late to make a difference now, but still. Death of 1,000 bites. Nicely done, November. Those guys were slightly more durable than I was expecting them to be, but they weren't much of a threat otherwise. Okay, let's just make sure we're not missing anything down here. Then we'll go have a chat with those gals up top. Hey, Toaster.
Rangers! You look like prayers answered. I knew Jesus wouldn't abandon us.
What's going on here?
Those goons were sent by a thug named Moss Kogan. They were trying to take my sister. I thought it'd be enough to leave Colorado Springs, but...
She closes a hand over her mouth, eyes downcast.
In hindsight, I suppose it might have been stupid. Of course they'd follow us. But I didn't know what else to do. We're in over our heads. If you hadn't stepped in when you did...
The radio kicks on.
Attention, Rangers! This is Moss Kogan of the 100 Families. I heard on the grapevine that you've taken up with a pair of no-good, debt-skipping lowlifes. So you know, we have taken up a position outside, and we are armed and dangerous. But this doesn't need to come to violence. I am a reasonable man, and I am happy to negotiate.
Please, Rangers! Whatever he's saying, it... Oh, please don't let them take my sister! They'll hurt her!
Why are they after Yoon?
He wants his money back, but he's gonna have to take an organ instead. I don't have it.
Despite her bravado, Yoon's face is drawn, and her eyes are frightened.
Yoon. She borrowed money from Kogan. Too much money. But it was only so we could create a church. A place that other Catholics could...
I did it because I wanted to spend money on dumb shit, okay? Shit! I'm too much of a fuck-up to deserve help, but my sister... She's gonna suffer too if Kogan catches up with us. Help us, please. For her sake.
It seems like excessive force on Kogan's part.
I may have stolen the money and then lost it all at the Little Vegas. Lady Luck just doesn't like me, I guess.
Yeah, that does change things a bit. Borrowed versus stolen.
Yoon, It's my fault. If there was a parish, if I had some way of raising her better, I might have been able to steer her away from gambling. But that doesn't matter now.
See, this, I feel, is a somewhat more effective, if simpler, moral dilemma. Yoon has committed a crime, she's owned up to it. She's not arguing that she shouldn't be punished, but she is expressing concern about how it's going to affect her sister, who honestly does seem like a good person. Now, by Patriarch's law, they'd probably be thrown in the pillories and left to freeze, but that does seem like it might be a bit too harsh. At the same time, though, Kogan is not in the wrong here, so... Come on, we'll help you work things out with Kogan.
Bless you, Rangers.
Okay, so... now what happens? Ah, I see.
Well, that's more like it. Now see here, Rangers. Yoon-hee is a low-life thief. She deserves the Patriarch's justice for stealing from me. However, I'm a reasonable man. All I want is my money. Those two can go where they like after that, so long as they promise I'll never have to lay eyes on them again.
That's actually surprisingly fair. Though, in this case, of course, the money's already been spent, so... I guess that does put us at a bit of an impasse. Alright, let's try this. You can keep shouting all you want, but your money's gone. There's no getting it back.
I hope you'll pardon my language, Rangers, but fuck that! One way or another, I will be compensated.
Okay, see, now we're negotiating. How about if Yoon spends a few years in indentured servitude?
No! Rangers! It's a life sentence!
Should have thought about that before she took my money! Either way, I'm not a cruel man. Since Miss Kim Hee here is so desperate to help her sister, I'm gonna offer a compromise. These two gotta work for me for 7 years. After that, we're done.
No! He can't take my sister! This is my fault! Rangers, please don't let him take us both!
It's both of them or nothing, Rangers.
You know, we should probably find out how much they actually stole from him. That might help put this in perspective. Maybe we can pay off her debt?
Ha! It's your money, I guess. Why not? You have enough jangling around in all those pockets?
Oof, that is a hefty chunk of change. You know our standing with the 100 families. Let's not go into conflict. Here's half. Can we call it good?
Guess you're only half crazy. You make a good point, though. And I'm not in a hurry to get into a shootout. I'll take the money and be on my way.
Nice.
Such generosity. I don't know how we'll ever begin to repay you. It's not much, but please take this.
What? I don't get to demand indentured servitude? Tell me about yourself.
There is nothing to say, really. I was a cook for one of the 100 families. Yoon was a troubled child. But I know it was one of the Lord's tests. He's training her, preparing her for greater glories.
What will you do now?
Begin looking for a fresh start, I guess. Thank you, Rangers, for everything.
Yeah, well, it's nice to get a good clean win every once in a while. Where'd Yoon get off to? Ah, there she is.
I don't know what to say.
Tell us about yourself, Yoon.
Yeah, I was the black sheep of a good Catholic family. Just couldn't wrap my mind around the idea of a god that gave a shit. Not after all this.
She gestures at the sky with a hand. What'll you do now?
Thanks to you, we can go home now. I think it's time I paid my sister back. Do something for her. I don't know, maybe find her some old-fashioned rosaries or something. We'll see. Seriously, though, thanks.
Her smile is wide and earnest. Well, doesn't that just give you the warm and fuzzies? I suppose in the grand scheme of things, if every morally gray scenario the player was thrust into had a nice clean solution, it would take a bit of the bite out of the complexity that the setting is supposed to present you with. Still, it's not like we got this one for free. It did cost us a pretty hefty chunk of change. I do wonder how things would have turned out if we hadn't had that cash on hand. Karjan token. Unexpected. I guess we'll have to find an excuse to head back towards the bazaar at some point. Extended choke. Plus 5 meter range, minus 20 cone angle. Oh, that's a rank 10 weapon mod. Which means it's probably unique. Huh. That means when we do end up using it, we'll want to make sure we attach it to a weapon we'll be carrying into the endgame. Which might be the incinerator. I'm not sure if there are any better flamethrowers. I might just look that up. Keep on shining, Discobot. Okay, let's hit the pause button real quick while I do one more pass, and we'll pick things up back out on the world map. And we're back. We did not miss anything. Anyway, we're going to keep heading east until we hit the edge of the map. Then we'll head north from there. My goal here is to basically just draw a quarter of the map, which we're then going to start slowly filling in over the next few episodes. You pull up to a weathered bunker. Multiple layers of paint have worn away from the building, but you are just able to make out the words, Denver Ordnance. Well, that sounds promising. This bunker has been undisturbed for a long time. The buildup of fallen trees, soil, and ice are a formidable obstacle, and would take significant effort to clear. It actually looks pretty simple. We will set up a protective shelter and clear the debris. It wasn't easy, but the life of a ranger never is. You clear your way through to the entrance. The door remains sealed after all these years. You're really hamming it up there, narrator. I think we've got this. The lock was frozen over, but a warm cup of coffee resolved that issue. After that, picking it is surprisingly simple. Old ammo and explosive crates are draped in rotted tarps, but look quite intact. A good haul. You load up and hit the road. Also, I am fairly certain we just saw a small arms skill book. Definitely a nice find. Alright, I think the rest is just ammo, so... Forewarned is forearmed. +1 weapon modding, okay. Not what I thought it was, but still a welcome find. I think there are actually 2 weapon modding skill books in the game. That plus the trinket we already bought might mean we can get away with just one more bump. Wow, this really has been a... Some hardheads are having a discussion about who's in charge. Weapons have been drawn. A perfect time to take them unawares. You know, I was going to start glossing over these random encounters, but we've never actually encountered the hardheads before. Yeah, what the heck. Let's give it a look. You circle around the hardheads and come up on their blind side. You've got 'em right where you want 'em. Got a few guys up on towers, a few more on ground level, plus a drill dog. It actually doesn't look that bad. There's our loot crate. Let's tap the pause button real quick so I can adjust the settings, and we'll get this started. Alright, let's do this. We could try to clear that tower and take it over, but I think it might actually be a better idea to draw them all out. Let's see if we can pull them over here. Get them all bunched up for a nice cluster bomb. Oh.
Cutting their flank.
You know what? I definitely could have been more careful there, but that basically accomplished what I was trying to do.
Don't eat me.
Tom makes no promises. Wow, these guys are kind of fragile.
Now.
From the banter, I think it's pretty safe to assume the hardheads are cannibals. So, not much reason to feel bad about slaughtering them. Goodness. See, now that is a bit more what I expect from the cluster bomb. I think we can just steamroll the rest of these guys.
We'll eat him later.
You won't. It is a bit weird. These guys actually look like they're rocking mid to high tier tank armor. So I wouldn't expect them to be this squishy. Yikes. I mean, what do I even say to that? After like 10 episodes of bullet sponges, we finally got guys who drop in a single burst.
Is that all you got?
Not really. And we're pretty much done. Ian, go grab that bot for us. And I guess we'll just chill out for a second. This is actually a pretty good chance for us to recharge our strike meters. Oh, you know, I just realized the Spitfire doesn't have a strike meter. I think it's still charging it, though.
We did it!
That we did, Rat. Nicely done, November. One less pack of, flesh-hungry cannibals roaming the waste. Oh, yeah. These guys were definitely outclassed. That's barely even mid-tier. Alright, folks. We're past time, so I think that brings us to a pretty good stopping point. And, honestly, I feel like we made some decent progress today. We knocked out 2 more side quests, 1 more side location, and found some decent upgrades, a few level ups into Skillbook. Not to mention that we actually did some good for a change, with none of those pesky shades of gray. That said, we'll hit the pause button for now. I will take a look at what points we can spend, and we will pick up here next time, as we continue prowling the perimeter around Denver, and eventually hit Denver itself. See you then. Oh, and remember, although I do love playing Wasteland 3, you can find out more about the game by visiting the official website, the official YouTube and Twitch channels, the official social media feeds, or the official store pages. As always, links are in the description.
I am am a reasonable man, and I am happy to negotiate.